That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
So what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, or you can't drive high. You can run, or you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
LA's morning show is Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Even as a kid, not a big
Even as a kid,
person.
when I said I liked candy, when I ate it, I was like, it's too sweet.
Too much. Yeah, y'all didn't grow up the right way then.
Get your Monday morning started.
With Key, alongside J. Will and Max.
KJM on 710.
You are never too old for a family. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is dedicated to finding forever families for children who have been waiting in foster care the longest. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
KSPN AM 710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
710 ESPN.
A Good Karma Brands radio station.
This is Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, ESPN Radio, Sirius XM Channel 80. Morning, Jay. Morning, Key. Morning. Gangs, the band's back together.
Crew.
Yep. Holidays
What up,
over.
Key?
Happy New Year, Key.
Happy New Year.
Yep.
New Year.
We've been, yesterday, the entire show was on Damar Hamlin, but, and we're obviously going to be focused a lot on that today. I feel like things are a little bit,
You're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, things
hopefully
feel like they're moving in the right direction. Here's the latest. The family released a statement on Tuesday. On behalf of our family, we want to express our sincere gratitude for the love and support shown to Damar during this challenging time. We are deeply moved by the prayers, kind words, and donations from fans around the country. Family said this in a statement released Tuesday morning. We also want to acknowledge the dedicated first responders and healthcare professionals at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center who have provided exceptional care to Damar. We feel so blessed to be part of the Buffalo Bills organization and to have their support. We also want to thank Coach Taylor and the Bengals for everything they've done. Your generosity and compassion mean the world to us. Please keep Damar in your prayers. We will release updates as soon as we have them. So Damar's uncle, Dorian Glenn, spoke to Coley Harvey last night, guys, and here's some of that.
It's kind of just like they're day to day. He's improving from where he was yesterday. And, we're just going to continue to pray. And I know that he's in great hands with the medical team he has here. They've been doing a tremendous job just helping him with his recovery. I'm just happy that he's still here to fight. He's still here. He still has a chance to get better. He still has a chance to continue to be the positive impact that he's been on the community. And, I find a lot of blessings within that.
Key, Jay and I discussed this quite a bit yesterday. We have not heard from you yet about this, so I'm interested in hearing your thoughts.
Well, obviously, it's a tough situation. And, sitting there watching the game and watching everything unfold, it brought me back to 1997, my second year in the league. When I was playing for the New York Jets, similar experience with Reggie Brown, a linebacker for the Detroit Lions, second-year player out of Texas A&M, needed to have the first responders and CPR as he collapsed on the field and stopped breathing. And it was the scariest moment. So it brought me back to that situation. And when you see the players on the Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals, tears pouring down their eyes, you know that this was very serious. This was just not a situation where, you go, okay, he gets in the ambulance, he'll be okay, he'll give you the thumbs up, because that's typically what we have seen in professional sports. But seeing that night I haven't, to be honest with you, Max, I haven't been able to sleep at all. I've been in two very similar situations. One in high school where we actually lost our star receiver in Kevin Copeland. And then this one with the Detroit Lions. And now all of a sudden I get a chance to witness a third from a distance on television. So, obviously the prayers and everything like that, you just hope and you pray that it all works out the way you want it to.
So you haven't been able to sleep as a result of this, you think?
Yeah, I really haven't. It's been the last, I would say, 24, so hours have been it's stress. Even though I wasn't in that game, you got to think. I seen it in high school. I seen it as a professional athlete when I was on the actual field. I think about 3 plays later after the incident in 1997, we had the football when it happened with Reggie, and the first pass attempt, they threw me the ball. I was in no mental, now that I look back at it, and even at that time, but now that I look back at it, I was in no mental shape to continue to play in that football game. They threw the ball to me, and it went literally, I tried to catch it. I don't know what I was thinking. I just tried to throw my arms up any way I could, and it bounced off of me. But I was more worried about what if I got hit. I wasn't even thinking about the game. And this was a very important game, much like the Buffalo-Cincinnati game was very important in terms of playoff implications. That Detroit game was win and get in for either team. And so, you can just imagine the magnitude of everything going on in that stadium. And I think it was the Silverdome at the time. It was about 80,000 people in there. It was just a different feel for a young kid who's never, who in the pros have never seen anything like that.
So, Key, wow. Because we talked yesterday about, one of the themes that had popped up, but the timing wasn't correct to, dive into that subject matter about implications, about playoffs and things of that sort while something like this is going on. So you're telling me back with Reggie, when that situation happened, that was the same scenario, but they went through and continued to play it. How were you guys able to even how the hell were you? Because I'm watching the other night, and I'm watching Diggs, and I'm watching those guys. There's no way in hell you can get yourself out of that state of mind to just go back and play.
No, it was, so being young at that point in time, I don't know the significance and the magnitude of what just transpired and took place, right? They could have, at that point in time, you playing ball, they tell you to run through anything. Now, obviously, the world has evolved as a whole, and that's why I said I think it was about 3 plays later, they throw me a ball, Jay, and my mind wasn't even, I attempted to catch it, but it was one of those deals where I didn't even put my hands out. I just kind of, I don't know, I did something weird to just like whatever, and I can remember myself doing that and my teammates telling me, to shake it off and get my mind back right. But I'm like, this young man, Reggie, he wasn't breathing 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, Key, you say that the world has changed quite a bit. I think that's exactly right. And the reporting about what transpired after the event took place and his heart stopped, right? We're talking about Damar Hamlin now, the other night. The reporting is that it wasn't the league that took the lead. It was the players and the players' union. And the players and the coaches. In other words, the era of player empowerment resulted likely in the postponement and maybe eventual cancellation of that game, right? Years ago, the players had much less influence. And as Key just said, you were told to do it, so you just did it, right? Things have changed quite a bit.
It also feels
absolutely.
Like it was like that
absolutely.
It's probably the biggest Monday Night Football matchup that we've had this season. Right.
Yeah, if that happened and if this had taken place in 1997,
they'd have kept playing.
We'd have kept playing.
Yeah,
because we didn't. It wasn't like Max said. It wasn't player empowerment. It wasn't the media coverage. It wasn't all of those sort of things. You have to not that you have to understand, but what happens is when this thing catches fire, and there's pressure applied not only to the players to make the right decision, but also the coaches, the front office, the NFLPA, the NFL, the networks. It applies pressure for them to make the right decision at that point in time. In 1997, it was just like, okay, he has, they got him breathing back on the field after some time where he wasn't breathing. They put him into the ambulance. Okay, we think he's going to be okay, and so at that point, it's like, okay, well, we're going to play football. When you see guys get hit in helmet-to-helmet contact and they go unconscious, they typically will just, go out, do what they need to do, put them in the ambulance, take them to the hospital, and the players go on and they continue to play. Even in practice, things have happened, and all they do in the past is they move the drill to the next field and let the first responders and the medical staff attend to the individual.
Key, you talk about not being able to sleep, and I was thinking about maybe not talking about this so much because I think there's a lot of grandstanding and virtue signaling that goes on with some when something like this happens. Look what a good person I am. I care so much about this, and I don't want to, appear that way. But I also have had a hard time sleeping the last couple nights. I didn't sleep at all that night. And last night even I had a tough time. And I remember calling a fight on the Intrepid boxing match, and I want to say it was the year 2000. And a very brave fighter named Batavian Scotland wound up dying as a result of injuries sustained in the fight. He wasn't knocked out. And early in the fight, I started saying, so I was the broadcaster on the fight. One of them said maybe they should stop this fight. There was no real moment to do it because he was never really staggered. He was just taking too many clean shots. And I said that several times through the night, Key. And then in the end, sure enough, he loses his decision. He seems okay, and then goes into the locker room and never wakes up essentially. So I don't know if that's what's going on right now. I wonder how many sports fans who watched that game are having a hard time sleeping right now.
Well, the uncle said that, he needed 100% oxygen the day before. Now it's down to 50%. But the uncle also revealed in the interview on CNN, he said that his nephew died twice. Essentially, he said they resuscitated him on the field. And then once they got back to the ER, they needed to resuscitate him again. Mm-hmm. So I think as this thing continues to develop, I mean, you're hearing all these details come out. The fact that it happened on such a grand stage. Mm-hmm. I mean, the world has literally stopped for Damar Hamlin.
Well, hopefully not permanently. Oh. And everyone's hoping that he has a full recovery and has cognitive function and all those things. And, hopefully no one wants to pry and invade the family's privacy, but people are anxious to know, with the best intentions, are anxious to know that he's going to be okay. And that's what obviously we're all hoping for. You can be a part of Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max Nation, by the way, on the Dr. Pepper call-in line. Call 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 729-3776. ESPN Nation is presented by Dr. Pepper. It ain't college football season without the delicious taste of an ice cold Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve. In spite of this bad news, we are still sponsored. So I know it's sometimes awkward to go from that topic to something like that. Nevertheless, the NFL plans to play this weekend, guys. One Bills player shares his thoughts on whether or not they should after Jay has this word from FanDuel.
NFL wildcard weekend is almost here, and the easiest way to get into the playoffs is with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers join today to get started with $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed, when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with promo code PLAY. FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to players props. So don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get a $150 in bonus bets, win or lose, with promo code PLAY. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia, and West Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming and Kansas or visit KSGamblingHelp.com. FreedomSport.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana, 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Tennessee Redline, 1-800-889-9789 in Tennessee.
This is Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Taken by LeBron. LeBron ahead to Schroeder.
Every moment of the Lakers happens here.
Schroeder to LeBron. Reverse on an alley-oop. Turn around and throw it in reverse. He reverse dunked off an alley-oop pass.
The LeBron Show just can't be stopped.
Dunk of the year by LeBron.
The home of LeBron James and the Lakers is right here.
710 ESPN.
And this place is buzzing.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
If I could be you.
And you could be me for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max in the morning.
LA Sports Talk all day long. Mega Sports Station. LA Sports Talk all day long.
710 ESPN. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, ESPN Radio. ESPN2, 6 to 8 a.m. Eastern on ESPNU. From 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern. Yates in his bag. I like this. What is that, Yates? Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app presented by Progressive Insurance. Yates, that's something like Ghost would sample, on an intro or an outro or something.
Man.
Yep.
Man.
So listen, the NFL, guys, has released a statement that the game will not be resumed this week. They said that Commissioner Roger Goodell, informed the teams that the game would not be resumed this week after consulting with both teams and the NFL Players Association leadership. The league, however, has made no decision on resuming the game at a later date. The league said in a statement that it has not made any changes to the Week 18 regular season schedule. Quote, the NFL continues to be in regular contact with the medical team caring for Damar Hamlin and also the Bills and Bengals organizations and the NFL Players Association, the league said in the statement. Guys, Jeff Darlington was on the 6 o'clock Sports Center last night, our ESPN NFL insider, of course, and we'll listen to it.
Well, the league tells me, again, Brian McCarthy, spokesperson for the league, says, as we announced today, we are focused on playing Week 18 as scheduled. So they've also made clear to every team that they do have, counselors on hand. They have all sorts of different things in place for these teams, for these players. But ultimately, they do plan on keeping the schedule going through this weekend. So there are these little scheduling things that the league will still have to do. But ultimately, at this point, we see very clearly where their priorities are, but they are still saying, though, that all encompassing on a macro level, the games this weekend are still scheduled to be played.
So the NFL is planning to play this weekend. So I'm very interested, Key. How do players go about getting – because, I was talking yesterday when you say, like, this guy is fearless. To me, it actually sells the player short, because if you're not scared, there's no courage. There's no bravery, right? Like, I think if you – like – there must be some fear involved. You just said it yourself when you were on the field and saw it happen to your teammate. You have these thoughts in your mind, right? And so a whole league now is going to have to overcome that and get and suit up and get back out on the field. How does that happen?
And this is why Jeff said that the league and the NFLPA have counselors and things in place to try and, help guys along. As long as we don't see any unforeseen turns between now and Sunday, I think players will be able to kind of separate the things that happen, the events that happened on the Monday night versus them playing on Sunday. It will still be in their hearts and in their minds at times, but I think, though, because of the lag time in between, it will allow them to kind of regroup and get their minds across the league, get their minds right to play a game where it may be very, very difficult for the Buffalo Bills, because that is their teammate. They're close to the situation, closer, let's say, than Seattle. But still, Seattle still understands the magnitude of what transpired and took place.
Yeah, look, I think the league, by suspending the game, is doing the right thing. Focus all the attention on Damar Hamlin and his family. I think that sets the right tone for the event that occurred. I don't – not that other players weren't close or are dealing with grief or dealing with issues around it, because I'm sure there are. But as it relates to the other teams, I don't get as concerned about the other teams as I do about the Buffalo Bills team. And Key, I said this. I don't know how in the hell you were able to do that. Maybe because in the back of your mind, you guys knew that, their teammate was going to be okay, maybe. But I don't know how you just come back and play after seeing that in real time. And I heard Aaron Rodgers the other day on the Pat McAfee show talk about the fact that, this is not like Damar Hamlin went back to the locker room, Max, and they performed CPR on him in the locker room, or they took him to the hospital and they performed it right there on the field.
For minutes and minutes.
In the middle of hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people
watching.
What
do you think the NFL should do, Jay?
I frankly, I don't know, Kia. I don't know how the Bills can just play the Pats, man. I think maybe a weekend of pushing things back.
For the whole league or just for the Bills?
I don't know how you because that's 2 games in a row for the Bills. I think it would have to be for the whole league. I don't know how you just wouldn't push everything back.
I think it's going to be, like I said, I think it's going to be extremely difficult for the Bills and the Pats in particular, because they play each other. I think the rest of the league, players that are close to DeMar, or players that have maybe gone to Pitt with him or played with him in Buffalo and have a relationship, may be a little tougher. But I think when you start to get into teams outside of the Bills per se and New England, outside of that game, I think for the most part, guys will try and get their minds right and ready to play, as long as I said before, we don't see something transpire between now and the time they're supposed to take the field.
You mean a turn for the worse?
Yes.
You mean turn for the worse. Oh, I see what you mean. And you're talking about the health of DeMar. Yeah.
Key, you're probably right, living in the world of reality with understanding how the NFL works. But what if there was a world in which we actually just took this weekend off and moved things back a week? I mean, there's that gap week between the end of the playoffs and the Super Bowl, right? Like, just What if you didn't have that gap week? What if it just went right into Super Bowl and you moved everything back a week?
I mean, that's not unreasonable. Deion Dawkins, the Bills' offensive lineman, was on the 7 o'clock Sports Center last night and was asked if the Bills will play on Sunday.
Anything that we have to give is for Damar and his family. You know, we understand that we have a job and that this is still what it is, but every emotion, every bit of energy that we have, we're giving it to Damar. You know, we're giving it to his family, and we're giving it to his best friends, and we're giving it to guys like Dane and Trey and those DBs like that are closest with him. And we're giving them all of that love because those guys need it as well as the other rooms too. But like all of his guys need it, his parents, his father, they all need it. And that's all that we have to give. And we're giving it all to the family, and we're not worried about and nothing else.
Well, I mean, as you say, Jay, difficult to see how you play, especially having heard, you know, the sentiment that when you take the temperature of the team, it seems like that they're not in a playing mood. And it also speaks to what you said, Key. If he gets better and he progresses and things are going in the right direction, that's one thing. If it goes the other way, that's another. And hopefully it will continue, or it will go in the right direction. We have much more coming up. Mike Tomlin, by the way, this dude. Now, I know, like, he might not be under 500 again. Think about Pittsburgh. It's not just that he's a brilliant coach, right? It's the kind of man he is. He continues to set the standard on and off the field. We're going to get into that coming up. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, ESPN Radio.
What is going on, Laker fans? Alan Sliwa here. Want to introduce something brand new on our YouTube channel, ESPN LA. You got to get on there. You got to subscribe. Lakers Talk Daily. Monday through Friday, we're putting out Lakers content. We're reacting to games. So we're coming up with topics that we think Laker fans are interested in, and we're doing it Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, and it's all on ESPN LA. So get out on YouTube. Get on our ESPN LA page. Subscribe to the channel. And, of course, we read off your comments, and we get topics specifically from you.
Slip the coffee check, talk to doctor now and share.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor. Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Visit managerbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Blood clots can happen to anyone. Up to 900,000 people in the United States are affected by blood clots each year, and 100,000 die from them. Blood clots don't discriminate. You or a loved one could be at risk right now. The good news is blood clots can be prevented. Knowing the risks and symptoms are key. On average, 1 person in the United States dies of a blood clot every 6 minutes. Don't let that be you or someone you know. Learn more at stoptheclot.org/spread the word.
In honor of all those we've lost to cancer and those still fighting, like basketball analyst Dick Vitale.
I want to beat cancer. I'm going to beat it. That's no doubt in my mind. I'm going to win this battle.
Defeating cancer will take all of us. At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join the V Foundation team. 100% of donations fund game-changing cancer research. Donate now at V.org.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
Wolf?
Oh, a wolf.
Ooh! What about the tiny dog? Cat. Owl. Dolphin? What does the turkey say? Whale.
Whale sound.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The future depends on teachers. Every day, teachers are shaping our tomorrows, starting their students on journeys that will change the course of history. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who will make preventing pandemics their life's work, sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who will help combat climate change, and generating possibilities for a student who will be the first in their family to graduate college. It all starts with teachers who meet challenges with creativity, who reinvent education for the future, who work towards a school system that lifts up every child, regardless of race, income, or zip code, and to enable the full potential of our students, our communities, and our country. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Shape the future. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
If you have ever thought about remodeling your bathroom but were worried it would take too long or cost too much, then stop worrying. Right now, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has designed a collection of high-quality custom products and perfected the one-day remodeling experience so you can enjoy your new bathroom faster than ever before. It's a worry-free bath remodel from the most trusted brand name in the business, Jacuzzi. A Jacuzzi bath system fits in your existing tub space. It's a no-mess installation with an amazing style selection, factory-certified installers, and a limited lifetime warranty. Call 800-717-4599. That's 800-717-4599 right now and get 50% off installations with no interest and no payments for 12 months. Replace that old bathtub today with a walk-in shower for a safer bathing experience. If you have lived in your home for over 15 years, it's time to remodel your bathroom. For a virtual or in-home appointment, call 800-717-4599. That's 800-717-4599. 800-717-4599.
LA's mega sports station. LA Sports Talk all day long. 710
ESPN.
The family of Damar Hamlin on Tuesday thanked the public for its support and asked for continued prayers for the Buffalo Bills safety, who remains hospitalized in critical condition after going into cardiac arrest on the field in Cincinnati on Monday night. Quote, "On behalf of our family, we want to express our sincere gratitude for the love and support shown to Damar during this challenging time. We are deeply moved by the prayers, kind words, and donations from fans across the country." End quote. The family said that in a statement released Tuesday morning. Hamlin's agent, Ron Butler, told ESPN's Jeremy Fowler that Hamlin's oxygen levels have improved. The game between the Buffalo Bills and Cincinnati Bengals that was suspended Monday night after safety Damar Hamlin suffered cardiac arrest will not be resumed this week, the NFL announced Tuesday. The NFL said in a statement that Commissioner Roger Goodell informed the teams that the game would not be resumed this week after consulting with both teams and the NFL Players Association leadership. The league, however, has made no decision on resuming the game at a later date. SportsCenter is presented by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $700 on average. Yeah, so Mike Tomlin, I mean, you know this better than I do and better than most. Like, if you're never under 500 in your career, and that might happen again this year, that's not just about X's and O's, man. You got to get people to play for you. And it seems to me that Mike Tomlin's team loves that man, right? Like, they play for this guy. And he showed once again the authenticity, the sincerity, the humanity, right? So he reflected on his relationship with Damar Hamlin at a press conference on Tuesday. Listen to Coach.
Man, it's a really personal thing for me, being a Pittsburgher, and that young man being a Pittsburgher. I've known that guy probably since he was about 12. Just got a lot of respect and love for him as a human being, his commitment to the pursuit of his goals and dreams of doing what it is he's doing right now, which is playing in the NFL, and to watch him make personal decisions and make that a realization. It's just an honor to get to know young people like that. Had an opportunity to express that to him whenever I see him. We've played Buffalo each of the last 2 seasons, and he and I get to have a moment because it's just cool to not only appreciate these guys in terms of where they are now, but to know them since they were younger people and to watch their maturation, their development, to watch them, earn what they've been chasing. It's just really a cool thing. And he's an example of that. I got a lot of love for that young man. We lifted him and that organization up in prayer. That's not obviously something that you ever want to see.
So, it's just the subject of Mike Tomlin. We've been talking exclusively about Damar Hamlin on this show since the event took place on the field where he went into cardiac arrest. But this is the first time we're going to introduce a subject now that is not directly about Damar Hamlin, and it's Mike Tomlin, guys. And yes, he is commenting on Hamlin there, but as I mentioned, he has his team in playoff contention somehow again, 1 win away from once again not having a losing record. He'd finish above 500. So there are a lot to choose from, right? Is this his best coaching job ever? Or is it just the best one since the last one, right? Like, I don't know if it's his best, Key, but like they're all kind of great. Is this his best one?
It's probably his best since his last one, right? I mean, because every single year, Mike Tomlin has about 40% turnover every 2 years on the roster in Pittsburgh. And so he's always faced with challenges of getting new faces, getting new players, coaching staff. I mean, it's like every other year, key pieces are leaving that organization, and he's continuing to stay the same and keep his team right in contention. I mean, there's only about, as I always said, and I'll continue to say it, there's only about 6 head coaches that I really would be like, oh yeah, they're legit in the National Football League. The rest of those dudes, they just wear caps in logos and hope to get out with a W. People know when they go to the stadium with him, they most likely gonna get out of there with a W.
I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. First off, what he said about Damar Hamlin. I mean, he reflected on the character, and I think that's why you saw him very passionate about the conversation, because it was a reflection of his character. When I think of character, how else do you not think of Mike Tomlin? All right, he talked about words such as development, motivation, earning what you have to go out there. And that's what this team has done this year, man. Start off 2-6, Mitchell Trubisky, then going with Kenny Pickett, seeing that defense make strides after losing some of their key pivotal members. Like the fact that they're in playoff contention right now with the win this weekend. Granted, they need some things to go right? You need the Jets to get a win over Miami. You need the Bills to get a win over the Pats. We'll see how the Bills come out from this situation. But earning it is everything that Mike Tomlin stands for. I don't think he would appreciate a season if they didn't have to earn it each and every possession.
I don't think that the measure of the season will be whether or not they make the playoffs, because their destiny is not in their own hands. For me, it is the one-loss record. It's the win. Is he going to once again avoid a losing season? He has never finished below 500 ever. And I wouldn't say, I think his best coaching job was when they traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick in the middle of that season, when he did not have Roethlisberger, because it wasn't Kenny Pickett or some draft pick they liked. It was Mason Rudolph. It was, whatever they could do. It was, who else was it, Key? The
Duck Hodges?
Yeah. Duck Hodges. Yeah. He went 500 with those guys. Right? Like, he is, I mean,
It's only, like I said, man, it's really only about 5 guys, maybe 6 head coaches in the National Football League that you go, I'm going to the stadium with him at any given moment. It doesn't matter. And he's up there, with the Belichicks of the world. He's right there with him. He may not have as many championships as Bill, but he's right there in terms of being their coach. He's right there with Andy Reid. I mean, they're all like right there.
Yeah, but not too late for him to take a college job, by the way, Key.
Yeah, remember that last year? Who said that?
Not too late for him to take a college job.
Who said that he would take a college? Who said that?
He was in the running for a college job, apparently.
Yeah, he didn't like that.
No, why would he?
But Max, I think that in Key, the fact that he did this, I mean, I can't get the words out of my mouth because I saw him, say it. I didn't hear him, but I saw Kenny Blinken Pickett. I mean, you talk about their last game, the win that they got because Kenny Pickett came through in the clutch against the Ravens. I mean, that's your rookie quarterback. That's a decision saying we're going away from Mitch Trubisky. We're going with a rookie quarterback who came through, and this team has matured at the end of the season now to whether we get there in the playoffs or not, like we're in a position to strike.
You know, as a Giants fan, I could see the effect that Daboll's had on the team, how they like this guy. You can see it. They play for the guy. And I'm not discounting Daboll's football acumen, right? I'm not at all. But as long as that checks all the boxes, like it's sound, and I think it is, then it's like, can you lead a team, a group of guys? Will they play hard for you? Tomlin's teams just give them everything they got. Like every year that they're going to, the word that comes to my mind, Key, is compete. They are going to compete every week, every season, and they're competing right now. That's for sure.
If you look at it, Max, and you take a look around the league, all the coaches that keep it 100, as we like to say, their teams compete for them. The coaches that keep it 100, the teams compete for them.
You're right. Harbaugh. Talking about
Harbaugh, Andy Reid, Bill B, Pete Carroll. I mean, those coaches, those players compete for them.
Absolutely the case. All right. We were talking about it yesterday on our call we do preparing for the show today about how the old guys starting to turn things around, right? Brady and Rodgers, where it looked like things were lost at a certain point, but recently they've been hot. And the question is, which one would you want to avoid in the playoffs if you had to choose one? Like, I don't want to play that guy. Is it going to be Brady or Rodgers? 888-SAY-ESPN, 729-3776. After Key has this word from Dr. Pepper.
The wonderful time of year continues to roll along. College football season. Dr. Pepper and the residents of Fanville invite you to revel in another one-of-a-kind year of flexing your foam finger, humming your school's fight song in your sleep, and thriving for a steady diet of buffalo chicken dip and post-game day commentary, all washed down with a rich, delicious Dr. Pepper, of course. Another Saturday is always just around the corner, so make sure your tailgate doesn't go or turn into a failgate, much like my USC Trojans did against Tulane, and pick up a case of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve.
Taken by LeBron. LeBron ahead to Schroeder.
Every moment of the Lakers happens here.
Schroeder to LeBron. Reverse on an alley-oop. Turn around and throw it in reverse. He reverse dunked off an alley-oop pass.
The LeBron Show just can't be stopped.
Dunk of the year by LeBron.
The home of LeBron James and the Lakers is right here.
710 ESPN.
And this place is buzzing.
Every moment of the Lakers happens here.
Slam dunk and a foul. Anthony Davis putting on a clinic.
We're just playing basketball, playing a lot of energy.
I can tell you got beat energy.
It's all about effort, all about energy this season for the purple and gold.
We feel great about our mix. It's a great energy and a buzz around our team.
I can tell you got beat energy.
New faces, a good vibe, and big energy.
Patrick Beverly's got it. Beverly, one-on-one, three-pointer over Rashawn Holmes is good.
You go through a season, especially with new guys, new faces, and a new team. I think you have to build that brotherhood first.
Feel the energy of the Lake Show this season.
A great boost for our spirits, our energy.
Toscano up to get it and slams it home.
The purple and gold play here on 710 ESPN.
LeBron to Wenyen Gabriel for an easy alley-oop dunk.
Your home of Lakers basketball this season.
Taken by LeBron. LeBron ahead to Schroeder.
Every moment of the Lakers happens here.
Schroeder to LeBron. Reverse on an alley-oop.
Turn around and throw it in reverse.
He reverse dunked off an alley-oop pass.
The LeBron Show just can't be stopped.
Dunk of the year by LeBron.
The home of LeBron James and the Lakers is right here.
710 ESPN.
And this place is buzzing.
I spent a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. And in 09, it was sparks from me, your chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it.
When your kid can't find the language, find the lyrics. Start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Help us fight youth homelessness. Go to covenanthouse.org.
LA's mega sports station.
LA's mega sports station.
LA Sports Talk all day long.
710 ESPN. So, all right. Bucks and Packers. You can't count these guys out. I mean, there's a reason that they're both going to the Hall of Fame.
RELAX.
Brady or Rodgers?
What if you'd have spelled it wrong?
That'd be the only. Yeah, it gets enough burn as it is, right? Brady or Rodgers? Listen, that's been for years. I mistakenly said actually Rodgers is much better. Brady just has Belichick. It turned out Belichick had Brady. That's right, Key. I said it.
Let it. Belichick getting ready to go to the playoffs too, man. What you? Talking
yeah, better get to the playoffs. Can't miss it 2 times in 3 years. All right,
somebody's helping them as well. But anyway, we'll
get into that. Brady or Rodgers, which quarterback would you want to avoid in the playoffs? Key, well, let's listen to Aaron Rodgers first, because he was not as cocky about them making the playoffs when they were going through the struggles as he was when he's guaranteed they would run the table basically, and then they went out and did, right? How many years ago that was? 5-6 years ago. But listen to Rodgers at the press conference.
I still believe in myself and felt like it just takes one sometimes. Yeah, it's strange, but when we were sitting at 3-6 and we looked at the next 3, at the time, Tennessee was playing really well. Obviously, Cowboys playing well, and Philly was number 1 in the league. And I just felt like if we get one of those, we can win the last 5, and 9-8 was going to get in. I didn't really go around saying that because you don't really want to say, hey, we just get one of these next 3, we can maybe make the playoffs. But in my head, that's what I was thinking. Felt like we were going to beat the Bears. Rams at home. A good matchup for us. Miami was a wild card, I thought, and then the last 2 at home. Thought it would be winnable, even though Minnesota's obviously had a really good season. Just dome teams in the winter and just the way we've played over the years. And December and January, our record's pretty damn good with me starting. So,
first of all, I like the way he broke that down, because it wasn't like irrational. I'm just that my team will do anything. He was being realistic about which teams they were going to beat. But we went through the schedule, and I told you guys back then, I'm not ready to count them out because I didn't see any unwinnable games on the schedule. I agree with him, Key. And now they're there. Who would you want to avoid more, Rodgers or Brady in the playoffs?
Well, you look, all players, they'll never. Well, the smart ones don't admit what they're looking at the schedule. Like Aaron Rodgers said, he can look at the schedule and I can tell you, I'm gonna beat this one, this one, this one. They coming outdoors. Okay, they got to play us at home. I'm gonna beat this one, this one, this one. And in the end, now, as I've always said, the last couple of years, they've had the number 1 seed and they've gone home. Maybe the 7th seed is exactly what they need because they're hot right now. And I'm talking about the Green Bay Packers. And the question was, which one would I rather have? I'd rather not play against Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers is smoking hot right now. He's got into a rhythm with his receivers. They seem to be coming to the party to play for him now. The defense has turned around to some degree. They're running the ball when they need to run the ball. And Matt LaFleur is not calling plays that make you scratch your head. Special teams and Keyshawn Nixon is balling and putting them in great positions on the field in terms of field position on kickoffs. So everything is kind of hitting for them right now as opposed to Tampa Bay, which is still scratching and clawing and clunking along.
Yeah, just Tom Brady, and I get the legacy behind Tom Brady, but it's because of all the injuries on that team and where that team is, and even watching that game against Carolina, that team doesn't scare me. The upside for Green Bay scares me, right? We talked a lot about the young receivers and how that's going to come together for Aaron Rodgers and that rhythm. I mean, but their defense held Minnesota to 17 points. You can say whatever the hell you want about, teams going up and down or what you want to say about Minnesota, but like Minnesota still has been in every single game. Like they made that game look very different, 41-17. Minnesota still is a good team. You may not think they're going to get there, right, when it's all said and done, but 41-17 is a pretty convincing win. So I think that defense and then the upside, the ceiling for Green Bay is drastically different than the ceiling for Tampa.
I hear what you're saying, and it makes sense, guys. I want to avoid Tom Brady. I've seen Aaron Rodgers in recent years in particular not get it done down the stretch, and he was on some very good teams in the playoffs. I'm talking about the playoffs, not the regular season, the playoffs, including against Tom Brady, where Brady beat Rodgers head-to-head. And, Rodgers is on a very good team. I would not bet against Tom Brady with the chips on the line. Not going to do it.
It's not betting against Tom. It's not betting against Tom Brady. It's betting against the rest of his team.
No, I get that, but we're not asking around him. But we're not asking about the team, guys.
Yeah,
we're really asking about the quarterback.
But he's not
a one-man sport.
It's true. It's hard to kind of.
But also, Max, he's not the same Tom Brady that can overcome his team as he did in the past. Certain things that the team would do. If you told me when you made that silly ass statement that he fell off a cliff, however
I didn't say fell. I say he was going to fall, and I was right.
Or whatever, he's going to fall off the cliff.
That was just 5 years early.
If you asked me that at that point, you said, "Well, can he overcome?" Yeah, of course. Well, right now his team is not good enough for the mistakes and some of the things that they do for him to overcome.
Yeah, I know. Listen, he doesn't have an offensive line. That's really what it comes down to. But I'm really talking about guys.
I don't think so.
Or are the Packers more liver than the Bulls, than the Bucks, because of what you said? Yeah, I get it. I'm saying games on the line. It's the playoffs, or forget games in the fourth quarter. It's a one-score game. We're in the playoffs. Give me Brady over Rodgers. That's what I'm saying right now. Give me this Brady over this Rodgers in the playoffs.
Hold on, man.
Yep.
I know I've been gone for a couple of weeks, and I thought the Miami Dolphins had clinched the playoffs a month and a half ago, but that didn't happen.
They were your preseason pick, and here you are.
And now I'm hearing you change the original question to one play left in a game, and who would
the original question? You guys changed the question.
That wasn't what. That's not what you teed up.
The question is this: Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers? Which quarterback would you like to avoid more heading into the playoffs? Which quarterback? You guys are then saying, well, it's an interdependent game and the offensive line. And
I said I would rather avoid Aaron Rodgers, and then you broke it all the way down to a minute 30 to go with no timeouts.
I said that because you're turning it into Packers versus Bucks.
Max. If the O-line is having issues, what quarterback do you think actually can get things
out the way?
Get out the way.
I think
it is part of the conversation. We're still talking about the quarterback.
The answer is Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Until it matters most, then Brady will get the ball out of his hands faster. In other words, what it comes down to me is we're talking about. Look at the question, guys. Let's read it carefully.
Yes, we've been looking at the question.
Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, not Bucks or Packers.
Yes.
Which quarterback would you rather avoid heading into the playoffs, not a regular season game? So we're not talking about teams, and we're not talking about regular season. We're talking about quarterbacks. Playoffs. So the question is, once upon a time, I would take Brady in the playoffs over Rodgers. Would I still? Right? And the answer is yes.
Because Tom Brady's clutch. Yep. That's what you're saying.
Yep. Better clutch player than Aaron Rodgers. Clearly a better clutch player.
More so you would take him more. So wait, Keith. Let's make it. I want to apply this to other scenarios then. So Tom Brady or Jalen Hurts in the playoffs? Quarterback. Who are you taking?
Jalen Hurts.
But why? I thought Tom Brady's more clutch.
Jalen Hurts doesn't have a track record, but just because you haven't seen Hurts do it doesn't mean he can't do it. And given the way he's playing now,
but that doesn't mean Aaron Rodgers can't do it.
But I've seen him in recent years choke in the playoffs. Period. Rodgers has in recent years has choked in the playoffs. He is one of the best players who ever lived. I'm not saying he will forever choke in the playoffs, but I've seen him do it. Brady doesn't do that.
Tom Brady, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, obviously.
See, Key, I was just saying, this is you start going through a list of other quarterbacks. He's going to take the other quarterback because Josh Allen has got to the championship game. He's gotten to the Super Bowl, right?
Go ahead.
No, championship game.
I take Josh Allen over
Everyone's
Tom
being
Brady.
sarcastic, right? About
I mean,
like him
I'm
choking,
sorry,
not
not
getting
championship. I'm sorry, Jay, not championship, divisional game.
Divisional game.
But go ahead. Continue. I'll take Josh Allen.
I'm just saying.
Those guys are so young, athletic, strong. And it's not that Rodgers is not athletic and strong. He's not quite in his prime anymore, it looks like to me. So both quarterbacks are somewhat diminished. And the question is, really, the point of the question is in their whatever level of diminished states, who would you want in the clutch? That's what the playoffs mean.
Please don't change it again.
Guys.
Just keep the question nice and simple.
Guys.
Because you changed like 5 times, Max, to try to get your point across.
changed it because you changed it. So I'm trying to get back to the original question.
Now, girls, you're both pretty.
I took Aaron Rodgers as the one quarterback out of the 2 that I don't want to see heading into the playoffs because he's red hot. You went with 1:30, 80 yards to go.
I went 1:30 because you guys both said Packers versus Bucks.
He plays for the Packers and the other guy plays for the Bucks.
All right, who would you rather?
Keith, sometimes you're talking to a wall. I don't understand why
guys,
you keep going.
Believe me, my reading comprehension is extremely high.
Again, like I said, I thought
it's extremely high. Give me a reading comprehension test. I get 100.
Playoffs already, Jay. I've been gone so long, I forgot who Max was.
We want you to weigh in now on Brady and Rodgers. And also, how much does how you play going into the playoffs matter in the actual playoffs? Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Max, and Yates wants something from me. What'd you say, Yates?
It's like a Progressive.
We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Is that it? Tremendous.
Yes.
I thought you said your reading comprehension was
888.
It's right there on the screen.
That was hearing.
No, that was hearing.
No, it's not on the screen.
Oh, it's not on the screen?
No, it's not on the screen. If it's reading, I got it. All right. 888-SAY-ESPN, 729-3776. Please answer the original question and not the one that Jay and Key turned it into.
Why is it Jay?
Which quarterback heading into the playoffs would you most want to avoid?
It's like a
Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and
basketball
Max,
game.
ESPN Radio.
This guy.
What is going on, Laker fans? Alan Slewa here. Want to introduce something brand new on our YouTube channel, ESPN LA. You got to get on there. You got to subscribe. Lakers Talk Daily. Monday through Friday, we're putting out Lakers content. We're reacting to games. So we're coming up with topics that we think Laker fans are interested in, and we're doing it Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, and it's all on ESPN LA. So get out on YouTube. Get on our ESPN LA page. Subscribe to the channel. And, of course, we read off your comments, and we get topics specifically from you.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today, I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Transitioning out of the military, it's difficult. Just about everything around you changes. I would get phone calls that brothers were dying, some of them to suicide. And I'd found myself in another cold cemetery. And I started to wonder if I was next. It's a struggle to know that you're facing challenges, but not be ready to face them. Sleep doesn't come easy. And when it comes, it doesn't last long. You're tired all the time. I didn't reach out for that help, but thank God my wife did. She got me registered for Wounded Warrior Project. Talking to somebody that would listen to me and understood my story helped me realize that it was time to change. There's a new fight. There's a new mission, and that's something I am eternally grateful for.
See how we help warriors combat stigma at woundedwarriorproject.org/combat stigma.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time?
Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the sheep sleep tonight. Oh, in the jungle, the quiet jungle, the sheep sleep tonight. Oh,
It just isn't the same without the lion. Join the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance today. Visit sdzwa.org.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use ClosetBox instead? ClosetBox is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. ClosetBox's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. ClosetBox's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. ClosetBox has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
KSPN AM 710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
710 ESPN.
A good karma brands radio station.
This is Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
This is Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, coming to you live from the Seaport District of Pier 17, brought to you by Chase. We were asking at the end of the last hour, in spite of Jay and Key's best efforts to change the question.
My goodness.
Heading into the playoffs, which quarterback would you more want to avoid? Aaron Rodgers, which was Key's answer, and Jay agreed, or Tom Brady, which was my answer, which is the correct answer.
I hear what you're saying on Tom Brady. I hear that.
Oh, wait. What side of the fence are you on?
No, I'm on Aaron Rodgers' side, but there is validity to Tom Brady. I mean, he's special as Tom Brady.
Hard to have an argument when someone's being so reasonable.
Yeah, exactly.
Reno in Houston wants to weigh in.
Houston.
Go ahead, Reno.
Hey, how y'all doing, man? Good morning, guys. I want to say it was my birthday when that happened. I want to send my prayers to the Mark Hamlin family. But Max, stop it, man. You trying to get in Tom Brady good graces, man. Tom Brady, there's no reason for saying he went over the cliff. We all know.
Tell him Reno been trying to do that for 6 years now.
Hold on, Reno. Why would I try to get in his good graces? Lex Luthor does not try to get in Superman's good graces.
Oh, no. What's that? You've been band-aiding the Tom Brady relationship for a while.
I have not been.
You said he's gonna go over the cliff, so now you gonna ride him out. He's the goat,
I tell you. Listen, Reno. I tell you how I feel and how I think about things. I don't care about anything else. Just like I'm not interested in, honestly, frankly, other people's opinions. Like I have my own opinion and viewpoint, and that's it. And I'll tell you what it is.
You have your own opinion and viewpoint, huh?
Yeah.
Shocking.
Really?
Yeah. They didn't know that, Max.
No, now listen, I do care about like what Key talks about football. I learn a lot, and I learn a lot of basketball from you, Jay. But that's different than forming an opinion about something.
If you were to see Tom Brady right now, what would you say?
What do you mean? What would I
you
say?
I'm sorry for saying you felt.
Why would I apologize?
Because you were wrong. Would you get an autograph? Would you take a picture, post it on IG?
Why would being incorrect about a prediction lead to an apology?
No,
it doesn't make any
you
sense.
get very sensitive about the subject. That's all.
Sensitive. Kevin in Florida. Kevin in Florida. You're on with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio.
Keep rubbing that knee, Max. I see it.
Hey, good morning, guys. First of all, love and prayers for Hamlin. Of course, praying for a speedy recovery, and cannot wait to see him waving to an enthusiastically screaming crowd of 80,000 in the stadium. I cannot wait for that day. Brady Rodgers. I am a Buccaneers fan. Grew up a Bucs fan. I'm a Brady fan, was a fan of his at New England, whatever. I would rather see Brady in the playoffs at this point. Watching them play this year, it seems to me that Brady's just not in it. His head's not in it. As a Bucs fan, I'm wondering to myself if he should have stayed retired because and I get that, Ryan Jensen's out. He's been out all season. That's his guy, his center. But I'm just not seeing it with him. I'm not seeing the fire. And when I do see the fire, it's frustration, it's anger, it's tablet throwing, and it's a lot of screaming and pointing at the sidelines. The limited games I've seen with Rodgers, he even on his bad night, it looks like he's got his act together.
With that.
So,
Listen, I agree with that, but it's not just Jensen. It's Marpet and it's the tackle. What's his name that they drafted a couple of years ago? Who's like among the best in the business. Whom I think
Worth.
Yeah, Worth. Yeah. So he lost his whole line, guys. Like it's not just one guy, but I do know what you're saying. The eyeball test changed a little bit.
Yeah, but Brady's lost his line before, and we weren't having these conversations. It's okay. He's just not. He's not there anymore. That was 48 years old or something. He's like, come on.
I refuse to be right
at some point. It's okay to say. It's okay at some point to say his best times have passed him by.
I refuse to be right about him. Back then, I said he was going to fall off a cliff, and now I'm saying, and everyone else is seeing that he's falling off. I'm saying no, he's not. Steve in Chicago, you're on with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio.
Hey, yo, Stevie.
Hey, guys. Prayers up to Hamlin. I want to say I want to avoid Rodgers. I think he's setting himself up for that chip run like he had when he won it all. Away from Lambeau, he's playing great. And when that Bucs offense gets stale, it's so bad. And Key, I want to know about what you think about Brendan Rice, because I saw him do some things in that game. I think that dude is going to be good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
I didn't hear the last thing. What did he say?
I didn't hear either.
So I want to know what you thought about Brendan Rice.
He did okay. He's all right. He's still got to continue to keep growing.
I looked up. Jay, Key, I looked up QBR just to see. I was curious. Like, where's Brady? Where's Rodgers?
Here we go.
Brady is 51.9. That's like slightly above where a starter should be, but it's 18th in the league, which is slightly below dead center in the league, but it's an average range. Expecting Rodgers to be much higher. Rodgers QBR 39.6. It's bottom 6 in the league.
Max, what I'm gonna say is I don't care about that.
Yeah, but it does. But it's a record of events.
It's his play. You got to remember, the receivers was in and out of the lineup. They was trying to learn how to play. The offense was stale.
So why are those valid excuses for Rodgers? But when it's Brady, it's like, yeah, but he used to be able to overcome a line. But his whole line is wiped out.
It's not valid excuses for Rodgers. Rodgers. You looked at the QBR for the last year. Look at the QBR for the last several weeks.
Mm-hmm. Are you saying, Key, that it's an eyeball test? You look at Brady and say it doesn't look the same. You look at Rodgers and you go, it's still Rodgers. Is that what you're saying?
Anybody that looks at Tom Brady and says, oh, it's still Brady, they just talking now. They scared to say anything negative about Tom Brady. That's just the reality of it.
It does look
different. Only thing that I definitely think it looks different. The only thing that does scare me and it makes me hesitant on going towards Aaron Rodgers is, regardless of his age, you do feel like Tom has the ability to pull a rabbit out of a hat.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know where it is, Key. Maybe it's because of the history, even though I know what this year has looked like. Like that Tom Brady magic, it just feels like he can do it, where sometimes I wonder if Aaron Rodgers has it.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're tuning in right now, we spent all of yesterday talking to Damar Hamlin. We will continue to talk about him today, but we start to lose ourselves in other kind of sports topics, right? As this is the nature of things, the world keeps spinning and our attention moves to other things. It's not that we don't keep Damar Hamlin in mind. We will be, discussing him, in an ongoing way, but not to the exclusion of everything else. I just wanted to mention that. And I'm glad that when people are calling, by the way, that every caller so far, prayers up to Damar, right? Like
that's
first
what it should be. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, guys, I remember this from the Giants in 2007, Key, when they beat the undefeated Patriots. They played them tough. Giants played the Patriots last week of the season and lost, but played them tough.
Yeah, I was at that game.
You were.
Mm-hmm.
And I always felt like that was a bit like that had something to do with when people talk about momentum, right? But the momentum they carried in to the playoffs. How much, Jay, let me start with, how much does it matter how you play going into the playoffs, going in?
I mean, look, everybody can always say that it depends if you get hot at the right time. But like, I'll tell you an example of a team and a player that I think needs to find their footing, then especially if they want to get number one seed. So let's go the Eagles. Like, I think it's pivotal Jalen Hurts plays against the Giants. I think it's pivotal that he finds some kind of rhythm, gets back into the groove. They've lost 2 in a row, get a win on the board, get that number 1 overall seed. Because if they don't, even if they do get number 1 overall seed, where you're going to have a bye, and then that's going to be your first game.
It's not just that the Cowboys or that they wouldn't have the number 1 overall seed. It's the rhythm that you enter.
Yes, 1,000%. You don't want to